They've been trying to kill this plane for years. It's outdated, it's ugly, and on paper, it shouldn't even be flying anymore. But every time they push to retire it, someone steps in to save it. So why does this clunky, loud Cold War relic still strike fear into enemies and spark loyalty from the troops it protects? The A-10 Warthog isn't just a plane, it's a symbol. A machine that refuses to die, not because of politics or nostalgia, but because nothing has ever done its job better. In an era obsessed with stealth and speed, the A-10 flies straight into the chaos, slow, low, and deadly. But how did a plane mocked for its looks become one of the most respected aircraft in combat history? And more importantly, why are so many people fighting to keep it alive? Let's dig into the strange, brutal, and unstoppable legacy of the Warthog, and why even today, it just won't go away. Before the A-10, close air support was a disaster. During the Vietnam War, US troops on the ground were left waiting for help from slow, outdated planes, like the propeller-driven A-1 Sky Raider, a design that hadn't changed much since World War II. It was reliable until it wasn't. Enemy fire tore through it and hundreds were lost. In total, 266 Sky Raiders were shot down. That failure hit hard, and the message was clear. If the US was going to protect its soldiers from the air, it needed a new kind of beast. So in 1966, the Air Force kicked off something bold: the Attack Experimental Program, or AX. Its goal was simple but urgent: build a plane that could fly low, take damage, and never abandon the fight. But the mission wasn't just to create a weapon. It was to build a protector. By 1970, the design criteria read like a wish list: heavy firepower, short takeoff, slow speed for precision, and rugged as hell. And most shocking of all, the price cap: just $1.4 million per unit. That's around $12 million today, which is still dirt cheap for a military aircraft. What came out of this was something no one expected, and no one could ignore. Most jets are designed for speed. The A-10? It was designed around a gun, not a figure of speech, literally. At the heart of this beast is a weapon so massive, the engineers had to build the entire plane around it just to make it work. The GAU-8 Avenger, a 30mm 7-barreled Gatling cannon that spits fire at nearly 4,000 rounds per minute. It doesn't just shoot at tanks, it destroys them. But the cannon was just the beginning. Everything about the A-10 was built for survival. The engines, mounted high to avoid ground fire, the fuel tanks, separated, self-sealing, and surrounded by foam to stop explosions. Even the pilot sits in a literal titanium bathtub, 1.5-inch thick armor, designed to take hits from 23mm shells and keep flying. This plane isn't supposed to retreat. It's supposed to circle overhead, absorb fire, and hit back harder. It doesn't win with elegance. It wins with grit. And that's why from the start soldiers gave it a name that stuck: the Warthog. Ugly, loud, and absolutely terrifying if you're on the wrong side of it. The A-10 wasn't just tough, it was practically unkillable. Ask any pilot who's flown one, and they'll tell you, this thing was built to come home no matter what. It can take direct hits from armor-piercing rounds. It can lose one engine. It can lose half a wing, even the elevator or part of the tail bow, and still keep flying. One pilot landed safely with an entire wing shredded and his hydraulic systems gone. The mechanical backup controls kicked in and the Warthog just shrugged it off. This isn't science fiction, it's engineering warfare. The secret? Redundancy and armor. Dual hydraulic systems backed up by manual controls. A fully protected cockpit. Even the flight computer was designed to handle partial failures without crashing the system. And if you're wondering how much armor they packed into it, about 6% of the A-10's total empty weight is just titanium. That's not just durability, that's a statement. You're not getting rid of me that easy. Even the underside of the plane plays mind games, with a fake canopy painted underneath to confuse enemies on the ground about which way it's turning. It's brutal, it's clever, it's terrifying, but the real terror comes from what's sitting in its nose. The A-10's cannon is so massive, the plane literally tips forward if you remove it without propping up the tail. Yeah, it's that heavy. The GAU-8 A Avenger isn't just a gun. It's a flying artillery piece disguised as a cannon. It stretches longer than a Volkswagen Beetle and fires rounds the size of beer bottles, each one designed to tear through armored vehicles like paper. Its fire rate, a jaw-dropping 3,900 rounds per minute. But here's the thing. A-10 pilots rarely hold the trigger that long. Why? Because in just a 1-second burst, the Avenger does more damage than some entire aircraft missions. The gun was so overpowered, they had to limit it, not for technical reasons, but to conserve targets. To fit this monster inside the aircraft, engineers made a critical innovation: aluminum shell casings. Lighter, easier to store, and added 30% more rounds for the same weight. Brilliant. And get this, there's no technical limit to how long the pilot can fire the cannon, but if they do unload the entire magazine in one go, they'll wear out the barrel and risk overheating. Still, the fact that it can is enough to make enemy armor rethink everything. The Avenger doesn't spray bullets, it erases threats. You'd think a plane designed in the 1970s would have been left in the past by now. But the A-10, it just keeps evolving. From the outside, it still looks like the same old Warthog, but inside it's been upgraded again and again to stay lethal in modern war zones. In the late 70s, it got its first laser guidance system, the PAVE Penny Pod. By the 80s, it had an inertial navigation system, and in the 90s, it received full computerized weapons guidance, autopilot, and low-altitude terrain warnings, essential when you're skimming tree lines at 400 mph. But the real leap came in the 2000s. The A-10 was reborn as the A-10C with GPS multifunction displays and the now essential HOTAS controls, putting everything the pilot needs right on the stick and throttle. It could now drop smart bombs, use satellite comms, and even track multiple targets in one pass using different weapons, all in a plane that wasn't even supposed to survive past the Cold War. Then came the Tusk program, a full-wing replacement, effort that breathed even more life into the fleet, extending its service life until 2040. It's not just surviving, it's still improving, and that's exactly why some people want it gone. As more A-10s head to the boneyard, speculation takes over. Some say the US is planning to transfer remaining A-10s to allies, with Ukraine and Jordan at the top of the list. Reports claim discussions have already happened behind closed doors, especially as Ukraine looks for aircraft capable of hammering Russian armor at low altitudes. But nothing's official. And that's the thing. The Warthog is now in a strange limbo. Too old for the next-gen battlefield, but too good to throw away. It's still flying combat missions. In late 2024, A-10s were deployed to the Middle East during tensions between Israel and Iran, and they've been flying over Syria ever since. That's not a museum piece, that's a workhorse still earning its scars. But when the last mission is flown, where does it go?